don't know if I've seen someone with the drive and passion to make it in the industry like I've seen with you. Cutthroat. It's very, up and down roller coaster of emotion.
He knows his stuff. He's not afraid to go at people.
Well, last time I checked, this is not the Los Angeles LeBron. What is up, folks? Back again here. It's been a little bit of delay, but glad to have you back on, Dean. Again, folks, we're not responsible for your physical or mental health, whether you agree with Dean or I's takes or anything of the sorts. Now, the Longhorns may be responsible for my mental health here this past week, but maybe we'll get into that a little bit later in the show. But Dean, how you doing?
I'm doing well. Thanks for. It's always good to be back.
It was good to have you on the show here. But first, we do a Bible verse and story of the day, but it says here in 1 Peter 3:15, put in your hearts, honor Christ the Lord as holy, always being prepared to make a defense to anyone who asks for you for a reason, for that hope is in you, and yet you do it with gentleness and respect. Kind of speaking about gentleness and respect, though, Dean, I know you probably get a ton of interview requests all the time. People say, hey, Dean, but what kind of made you kind of respond like, okay, let's give this guy a shot versus you probably had people in the past that are like, they're probably going to use this interview to try to get in the sports world?
I just like to connect with genuine people and people that send you messages. There's a lot of stuff on social media, and it's a great way to connect with people. And I think overall it's positive, and that's how we connected, and to be able to answer questions and come on, whether it's a podcast or a show, and talk a little bit about football and other things. I think that's great. And so I always look for just those people that are being genuine and people that are really interested in football and my experience. And you've always been one of those people. So I always enjoy coming on the John Allcorn Show.
Definitely nobody's more passionate about football. If I keep screaming at folks, maybe I had to replace the vocal cords. But I got to ask you, though, Dean, did college football, I know this happened a couple of weeks ago, the UT and OU is moving to the SEC. I've talked about this with kind of friends, but I guess from people that work in the industry, like how does this going to work moving forward? Because it sounds like a lot of things kind of clamoring at once.
Yeah, there's a lot of moving parts, and obviously this hasn't happened yet, but you can see, right, the dominoes have already started to fall with okay, Texas and OU are leaving the Big 12 for the SEC, and now you have 4 schools that now have applied for the Big 12, and so the Big 12 going to 12 teams, which a lot of college conferences that have numbers, we haven't had the number of the conference align with the number of schools, but it's interesting. The landscape is changing. We did see this, 10, 12 years ago with realignment. So it's going to be, a lot is going to happen over the next 4 years, and kind of positioning and repositioning. And again, I don't know when Texas and OU finally get to the SEC, I think we're still going to have the Power 5. We're still going to have the CFP. It's just, these schools there may be some different schools in different conferences, but certainly the landscape is changing, and it's it's kind of exciting for to shake it up a little bit every decade or so.
Definitely UT needs to shake it up here, folks, because UT hasn't been a while. Dan, I'm not like other UT fans. We're back. Not like Cowboys fans. We're back. We still have a long ways to go, folks. But again, if you have anywhere during the show or prayer request, you can text 254-356-6678. So it doesn't matter what you've gone through. We are here for you. But Dean, I know we talk about the college football playoffs in the future, like UT and OU. The reason why I maybe have some questions about it, because now players are getting paid. And let's say, like, if I'm a 4-star running back or a quarterback in this situation, and then I go to like a Rice or a smaller school, I get a better chance to start. But Alabama, you're going to championships, but then you may not get to start as much. So how do you kind of see that maybe affecting college football recruiting for maybe these big schools like Alabama or Georgia moving forward?
Sure. Yeah, and I don't think that's a new, right? I don't think that's a new dilemma for kids coming out of high school. Is if you're going to go to a powerhouse program like Alabama, the best players, the best high school players are going to go. You're going to be competing with those players now. If you want to have a better chance to play and start, then you're going to go to a school that isn't as stacked as an Alabama or, an Ohio State and the schools that we see year in and year out having those top recruiting classes. So I don't think the NIL really changes that dynamic for a lot of kids. Now, it is an added factor with the ability to market yourself and to gain revenue for your own image and likeness, which is good, which is important, and probably should have been done a long time ago. But I don't know if you hear about, right, Bryce Young getting 7 figures and going to Alabama. Is that true? I don't know. I don't know what the actual stats are, but it's just another thing that kids are going to have to consider when they make those school choices. And it's it's something that's been going on for years.
Definitely interesting. Maybe I'm kind of overthinking it because my football brain, when I kind of think about this, it kind of goes over here and over here and under here. Kind of, how do you think that affects so many? Because my football brain goes into different directions here. You have maybe that affects recruiting for different teams. Does that help maybe get a chance in 4 to 5, 7, or 10 plus years where a team, hey, we probably get 4 to 5 wins. Let's just settle for that. But maybe moving forward, hey, players can get paid for their late image and likeness, and now that they can get paid potentially by sponsors, by restaurants or fast food places. Do you think maybe that gives hope to some teams that have been probably the laughing stock of college football?
It could be. It could, yeah, those opportunities. And I think, again, it's just putting that all above board. There were, certainly before this, I wouldn't be assuming anything to say that a college, a kid coming into college was paid under the table or for whatever to go to that university. We've seen that, schools have been put on probation. They've been given violations, lost scholarships. So I think it may even the playing field a little bit in terms of having kids be able to, go around and look at the different opportunities, and maybe a smaller school that can't compete with Alabama on the football field. Maybe they have some other marketing opportunities that would make their program attractive to a high, a really, 4 or 5 star recruit. So again, I think it's new and we'll see how it plays out, but at least through the first couple of weeks, it's, this year it's the same, right? It's the same names, it's the same teams that are at the top of the list. And, but I like the idea of when you think about the NFL and parity, and obviously New England has been, kind of a dynasty, but every year you have different teams making the playoffs. And I would love for that in college football, to get some new blood and new schools in there. And so it's not the same 4 or 5 teams competing for a national championship every year.
Definitely like some excitement, like we saw in the NBA Finals this year. A comment committed says, I need to start watching college football. People say the environment is much more exciting than the NFL. Did you bid on that? Kind of, what do you think about that? How does the environment compare from college football to necessarily like the NFL?
Yeah, it is a different environment. I feel like the college environment feels more. It's the idea is it's amateur sports. It's more you have the kids, the students, the student sections, the bands, right? You have a lot more tradition. College football has been, right? College football was around long before the NFL, professional football, right? College football, when professional football started, they were using college football rules because college football had been around longer. So you've got the longstanding traditions. You have all these different things, the songs, and like I said, the bands and everything else. So it is a different environment. It feels more pure. It feels more like a game that kids are playing, where the NFL is a business and the NFL is professional football. And it's exciting. You watched the game last night with Washington and the Giants, and it was an exciting game, an exciting finish. The game Monday night with the Ravens and the Raiders was really exciting. But it is more of it's a professional environment. It's there's less of that tradition. You don't have the bands. So I don't know. It's just, I don't particularly like one over the other. They're just different and they're both great. So it's like whatever you kind of gravitate toward.
Definitely understand. I haven't been to college football game in a while, but kind of, I guess, college football, Dean, I'm a man. I can take it. I'm not like other maybe like college football fans where I'm going to go cry in a corner here, complain to my mommy, but just be honest, man. You just, I know, like my Texas Longhorns, they're in a disaster yet again this year. And kind of this, how do you feel about them? And again, nothing off the table. It does not hurt my feelings. I can take it.
Well, it's so early, and that's the thing about college football. When you have, you have coaching staff changes, and now you have, Coach Sarkisian coming in, and you got to give him some time. Have the ability to recruit, put his system, his program in place, get the right recruits that are gonna, fit into his system, and that takes time. But unfortunately, when you go to a program like Texas, you don't have a ton of time because they expect the type of success that they've had in the past. And so again, it's tough. You kind of, people want to overreact. But when you go and you say, okay, we're going to go play in the SEC, and then we lose pretty badly to an SEC team that is not really one of the top teams in the conference, that just means you got work to do. And we've got a lot of work to do if we're going to go into, we're going to compete in the Big 12 for the next couple of years, and then people expect to be competing for that Big 12 championship and then the CFP, and then to go to the SEC. Texas isn't going to the SEC, and Oklahoma isn't going to the SEC to be the fifth or sixth best team, but they've got work to do before before they get there. So it's just kind of it's a real wake up call to say, okay, we gotta. But I would say give the new coaching staff some time to kind of put their athletes in place, put their system in place, and then we'll see.
Maybe I'm a little harsher than Thanos with the inventors when it comes to my Texas Longhorns. I'll give it time. Be patient here. I get frustrated because I hyped up Tom Herman's going to be doing this, and then Charlie Strong says we're going to steamroll everybody, and they go 5-7.
Yeah.
So I'm not saying it's going to happen. Hopefully there is some kind of hope here moving forward. But Joshua Kinson says, do you think it's easier for student athletes to buy into a system versus than it is maybe necessarily the pros?
Yeah, I think it is. It's probably when you get into professional athletes, right? They're in many instances they're making more than the head coach, right? They're now, they're grown adults. I think that creates a whole nother set of problems where you have college kids that are going in. I think if you can create, and I think the word is probably overused, culture. I think but if you can create an environment that is positive for these kids coming in, I think they'll buy in. And it's a different generation. I talked to a ton of coaches that have been around a long time that are still coaching today. And what worked even 5 years ago, right, 10 years ago, doesn't work with this generation today. You've got to kind of reinvent yourself. And the kids today, they're different. They want to know, it's not just, because I told you so. They need to know the why, right? Why are we doing this? That they're going to get the buy-in that way. So I think, coaches around the country are really trying to adjust the way they coach for this generation of younger kids that are coming in. But I think if you can create the right environment and provide that why and give them, that stability, I think they buy in. And I think it's easier sometimes for a college program.
Definitely in college, and hopefully that some teams can do a lot better though. But kind of with the third week of college football coming this weekend, what is one game that you envision, hey, this can maybe set the tone for college football this weekend?
Well, Alabama's playing Florida. This will be, we all know what Alabama is, right? And they come out the first week, they play a non-conference game against Miami, which is a ranked team, and they blow them out. So we all know what Alabama's about. So let's see what Florida's about. Can somebody challenge Alabama in the SEC, and can somebody challenge them in the country? I like the Penn State Auburn matchup. Like I think Penn State is playing well. Can the Big Ten, the better teams in the Big Ten, other than Ohio State, can they compete with the SEC schools and the other the other conferences? So I those two games certainly are on my radar, and I'm just every week it's so much fun to look at the schedule, and I'm excited. I'm doing Maryland, Illinois tonight on FS1, so I'm excited about that game. So it's just fun to watch the games and but it's every week there's something.
Definitely will be watching that because I don't care. For me, Dean, I don't care if it's the worst teams in the country. I'm going to be trying to watch it, finding a way to watch some football here, and hopefully there's some hope here. So give Texas some time, but kind of some quick NFL talk here because I know you have a busy schedule here. We just had the past week of the NFL season. Like you said in college football, it's just week one. Anything can happen. But as we kind of see maybe the NFC West, that division, I think we know, is very stacked. How do you kind of see that envisioning out? Can Jimmy G stay healthy, or how do you kind of envision this division playing out?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people, right? The NFC West, it's not new. A lot of people felt the last 2-3 years the NFC West has been the best division in football. Now you're seeing, right, what Arizona can do. Arizona, who thought they were going to go down to Tennessee and blow out the Titans at home? The Rams were a lot of people's pick for the Super Bowl with Matt Stafford. Now Seattle's been there. Seattle has been, seems like they win 9-10 games every year with Russell Wilson and Coach Carroll. And then you get the Niners kind of had an off year last year, but they had so many injuries. So this division is stacked. And week one didn't do anything to dispel that. So it's going to be really interesting. And I could see 2 or 3 teams coming out of this division making the playoffs, which would be certainly something that doesn't happen very often, especially when you look at the rest of the NFC. Certainly not great starts in some of the other divisions. So it's going to be, definitely the best division in football. And I'm really interested to see how that race is going to play out.
Definitely a lot of interesting things in college football. So we get that turned off here. But I got to ask you, though, Dean, here, when it comes to, I guess, the NFL, I talk about respecting certain players, regardless of what you think. And I was on the Matthew Stafford train. I know people say pump the brakes. This is just before week one. But like you say in a job, you have the right manager around you, like you have it where you work. When Matthew Stafford finally has the right coach and the right players, doesn't have to be top 3 players. So this is 2020. He can flourish. And some people disagree with me. I say this is why I do the math, I do the research. I'm not going to just be full of hoopla here so y'all can get offended if you want. And that is not my problem. But I will say, before the 2020 season, if you kind of mix and match, Matthew Stafford's 8 of his 11 seasons starting, over 5,000 yards. I know it's just one game against the Rams, but I said maybe this is my dumbest take of the year and I can get roasted for this. But he was the Mahomes before the Mahomes, without the playoff success, without the playoff appearances, without the championship appearances. And I know it's just one game. Are we kind of being too early about the hype, or is it just kind of, hey, Matthew Stafford's finally getting the respect that he genuinely deserves as a quarterback?
Yeah, I don't think, and we tend to, right? It's always fun after week one to react and make these, everybody even talking about the game last night, and the Giants are done and this type of thing. So I think it's Matthew Stafford, like you said, because he's played in Detroit. Detroit hasn't been successful. They've made one playoff appearance, I think, in however many years, and he hasn't gotten the recognition that a lot of other quarterbacks have gotten. And when you look at his statistics and you look, you can put them up with any. If you did just a blind taste test and put Stafford's numbers with Aaron Rodgers and with Ben Roethlisberger and with Mahomes, they wouldn't look that different. But he just hasn't had that. He hasn't been able to win, and that could be a lot, about the talent around him. And so now I think, it's not, I don't think it's an overreaction, because everybody felt like with the Rams, with Sean McVay, with that defense, with the receivers, that he has, this could be where we see what Matt Stafford could do, in terms of, going to a championship game, a Super Bowl. So I don't think it's an overreaction. I think a lot of people felt that way going into the season. And, week one certainly didn't do anything to disprove that.
Maybe I'll jump the cord here, folks, but we don't know. Finally, there's some winning in Denver. I know it's just 1 week, but my goodness, I did not want you like, but folks, before we go each into every show, let's go into today's final thoughts. Dude, we know you have a very busy schedule, but coming on when you can is definitely much appreciated. Do you have any final shout outs or things you're working on or anything else at the moment?
No, just keep watching us on Fox Sports, college and NFL. And you can check me out if you have questions about officiating. You can check me out on Twitter at Dean Blandino. And, and keep watching. Nobody works harder. Nobody loves sports and is more passionate about it than this guy, John Allcorn. So thanks for having me. Definitely.
Can't wait to have you on again. Hopefully the Longhorns get it together, but maybe if you see me getting a little bit frustrated or starting a hashtag, like I said, fire Tom Herman last year, we'll see what happens, but we'll take our time. We'll be patient. But again, Dean Blandino from Fox Sports on Twitter. So thank you so much for coming on, man. We'll do it again, and definitely be watching the game tonight. Good luck.
Thanks, John.
Yeah.
Know if I've seen someone with the drive and passion to make it in the industry like I've seen with you. Cutthroat. It's very, up and down roller coaster of emotion.
He knows his stuff. He's not afraid to go at people.
Well, last time I checked, this is not the Los Angeles LeBron.